Hey there, map maniacs and history hounds. Have you ever looked at a map and wondered, hey, what happened to country? Turns out, the world map is more like a lava lamp than a dusty old textbook. Countries pop up, merge, split, and sometimes they vanish entirely. And that's what we're diving into today. We're talking about 10 countries that have been wiped off the map. Some met their end through earth-shattering wars, others faded away through political maneuvering. So buckle up, because some of these stories might just blow your mind. Alright, let's kick things off in southeastern Europe, a region that's no stranger to dramatic plot twists. Picture this. It's the aftermath of World War I, and from the ashes of empires, a new nation emerges, Yugoslavia. This wasn't just some random collection of provinces, it was an attempt to unite a diverse group of people, Serbs, Croats, Bosniaks, Slovenes, you name it, under one banner. For a while, it seemed like it might actually work. Josip Broz Tito, Yugoslavia's charismatic and sometimes iron-fisted leader, held the country together for decades. But after Tito's death in 1980, those old ethnic tensions bubbled back up to the surface. By the 1990s, things went from simmer to full-blown boil. We're talking brutal wars, ethnic cleansing, and a level of violence that shocked the world. By the time the dust settled, Yugoslavia had fractured into 7 independent nations: Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Slovenia, North Macedonia, Montenegro and Kosovo. Yugoslavia as we knew it was gone. Now let's hop over to a slightly less tumultuous chapter in our story. Don't worry, we'll be back to the drama soon enough. But for now, let's talk about Czechoslovakia. Born in 1918, this Central European nation brought together Czechs and Slovaks, two Slavic groups with their own distinct cultures and languages, and for a while it was a pretty happy marriage. But as the years went by, those differences started to feel a little less opposites attract and a little more irreconcilable differences. By the late 1980s, the winds of change were sweeping across Europe, and Czechoslovakia got caught up in the whirlwind. The Velvet Revolution, a peaceful protest movement, led to the fall of the communist government. And with that fall, the calls for Czech and Slovak self-determination grew louder. Instead of clinging to power or resorting to violence, Czechoslovakia's leaders took a deep breath and said, you know what, maybe we're better off as friends. And so in 1993, they signed the Velvet Divorce, peacefully dissolving the country into 2 independent nations, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. Alright, let's fast forward to the heart of the Cold War. For nearly 40 years, Germany wasn't one country but 2, West Germany, a capitalist democracy, and East Germany, a communist state under the watchful eye of the Soviet Union. Now life in East Germany wasn't exactly a picnic. Imagine living in a country where you couldn't leave, where freedom of speech was a luxury, and where a giant wall literally divided you from your family and friends in the West. But in 1989, something incredible happened. Fueled by a desire for freedom and a healthy dose of people power, the Berlin Wall crumbled. It was a pivotal moment in history, a symbol of hope and the fragility of division. And just like that, East Germany began to fade away. A year later in 1990, East and West Germany reunited, erasing the lines drawn by decades of Cold War tension. East Germany, as a separate entity, ceased to exist. Okay, history buffs, get ready for this one. For over 6 centuries, the Ottoman Empire was a force to be reckoned with. We're talking about a sprawling empire that stretched across 3 continents, Europe, Asia, and Africa, leaving its mark on art, architecture, culture, and well, pretty much everything. But even empires have their expiration dates. By the late 19th century, the Ottomans were looking a little worse for wear. Internal strife, economic woes, and a string of military defeats earned them the not-so-flattering nickname, the Sick Man of Europe. And then came World War I, the final nail in the Ottoman coffin. When the dust settled, the Ottoman Empire was carved up by the victorious Allied powers, giving rise to modern-day Turkey. Now let's journey to the Himalayas, to a land of soaring peaks and ancient traditions, Tibet. For centuries, Tibet stood as a beacon of independence, a spiritual center ruled by the Dalai Lama. But in 1950, Tibet's peaceful existence was shattered when China, fresh off its own communist revolution, decided it was time to assert its claim over the region. Chinese troops marched into Tibet, effectively ending its autonomy. Since then, China has maintained a tight grip on Tibet, suppressing any attempts at independence. Okay, time for a South American adventure. Let's rewind to the early 19th century, a time when the Spanish Empire was crumbling, and a wave of revolutions was sweeping across Latin America. At the forefront of this struggle was Simón Bolívar, a Venezuelan military and political leader who dreamed of a united South America, free from colonial rule. And for a brief, shining moment, it seemed like his dream might become a reality. In 1819, Gran Colombia was born, a sprawling republic that united modern-day Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Panama. But internal divisions, regional rivalries, and political squabbles plagued Gran Colombia from the start. By 1830, the grand experiment had unraveled, leaving behind Bolivar's dream of a united South America unfulfilled. Let's head back to Europe, to a land that once struck fear into the hearts of its neighbors, Prussia. Known for its disciplined military, efficient bureaucracy, and a certain no-nonsense attitude, Prussia was a force to be reckoned with. From its humble beginnings as a small duchy, Prussia rose to prominence through a combination of military prowess, strategic alliances, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned ambition. By the 18th century, Prussia was a major player on the European stage, going toe-to-toe with empires like Austria and France. Prussia played a pivotal role in the unification of Germany in 1871, with its king, Wilhelm I, becoming the first emperor of a united German empire. But after Germany's defeat in World War I, Prussia was stripped of its power and prestige. Following World War II, the Allies officially dissolved Prussia. Aloha, history lovers, let's set sail for the Pacific Ocean, to a land of volcanic landscapes, lush rainforests, and a rich cultural heritage, Hawaii. But before it became the 50th state, Hawaii was an independent kingdom, ruled by its own monarchy. For centuries, the Hawaiian people thrived under their own rule, developing a unique culture deeply connected to the land and the sea. But in the late 19th century, the winds of change, and by winds of change, I mean American business interests, began to blow through the islands. American businessmen, hungry for sugar and profits, started to exert their influence over the Hawaiian monarchy. In 1893, with the backing of the U.S. government, they overthrew Queen Liliuokalani, the last reigning monarch of Hawaii. 5 years later, in 1898, Hawaii was formally annexed by the United States. Get ready for another imperial roller coaster, folks. This time we're headed back to Europe, to the heart of the continent, to explore the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Imagine a sprawling empire, a patchwork of different ethnicities, languages, and cultures all held together by the Habsburg dynasty. For centuries, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was a major power, a cultural melting pot, and a source of both fascination and frustration for its neighbors. But beneath the surface of imperial grandeur, tensions were simmering. Nationalist movements, fueled by a desire for self-determination, began to challenge the Habsburg grip on power. And then came World War I, the cataclysmic conflict that would spell the end for the Austro-Hungarian Empire. For our final stop, we're traveling to southern Africa, to a nation born out of controversy and conflict, Rhodesia. Now, Rhodesia's story is a complicated one, a tale of colonialism, racial segregation, and a struggle for independence. It all began in 1890 when Cecil Rhodes, a British imperialist with a penchant for expansion, established a British South Africa Company presence in the region. Over time, the colony, named Southern Rhodesia after you-know-who, gained a degree of self-governance. But power remained firmly in the hands of the white minority, who enacted a system of racial segregation. In 1965, the white minority government declared unilateral independence from Britain, becoming Rhodesia. The international community, appalled by Rhodesia's racist policies, refused to recognize its independence. Finally, in 1979, a negotiated settlement paved the way for a new multiracial Zimbabwe. So there you have it, 10 countries that have been wiped off the map, each with its own unique and often tragic story to tell. It's a reminder that the world is constantly changing, borders are fluid, and even the most powerful empires can crumble. Which of these vanished nations surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on more mind-blowing history and geography content. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, the world is a strange and fascinating place full of stories waiting to be discovered.